Heaven and earth had been created. The sea surged within its shores, and in the skies the birds sang. The earth teemed with animals. Yet there was still lacking the creature whose spirit could govern the world of the earth. Then Prometheus entered the earth, a scion of the old divine lineage that had been overthrown by Zeus, a son of the earth-born Uranus's son, Iapetos. He took clay, moistened it with water, kneaded it, and shaped it into a figure in the likeness of the gods. To breathe life into this lump of earth, he borrowed good and evil qualities from the souls of animals, and enclosed them within the chest of man. Among the immortals, he had a friend, Athena, the goddess of wisdom. She admired the creation of the Titan's son and breathed spirit into the half-souled figure. Thus, the first humans came into being. But for a long time, they did not know how to make use of the divine spark they had received. They wandered about like dream figures. They were ignorant of the arts of shaping stone, firing bricks from clay, crafting beams, and building houses from these materials. In sunless caves, they swarmed like ants. Everything they did was aimless. Then Prometheus took care of his creations. He taught them to yoke animals and use them as partners in work, trained horses to the bridle and carriage, invented boats and sails for navigation. For every other aspect of life, he instructed humans. He showed them how to mix mild remedies to combat disease. He then taught them the art of divination, interpreting signs and dreams. He turned their gaze beneath the earth and led them to discover ore, iron, silver, and gold. He introduced them to all the comforts and skills of life. In the heavens, Zeus had recently taken rule with his children, having overthrown his father Kronos and toppled the old divine lineage, of which Prometheus was also a descendant. Now, the new gods turned their attention to humankind. They demanded worship and promised protection in return. Prometheus appeared as the advocate of his humans to ensure that the gods would not impose too harsh conditions on mortals. But then the Titan's son, guided by his cleverness, decided to deceive the gods. In the name of his creations, he slaughtered a great bull and arranged for the immortals to choose whichever part they desired. Yet he had divided the sacrificial animal into two piles. On one side, he placed the flesh, entrails, and fat within the hide of the bull. On the other, the bare bones, cunningly wrapped in the tallow. This pile was the larger. Zeus, the all-knowing father of the gods, saw through the deceit and said, "Son of Iapetos, how unevenly you have divided the offering." Prometheus smiled and replied, "Illustrious Zeus, greatest of the eternal gods, choose the part to which your heart inclines." Zeus was enraged at heart, but deliberately reached with both hands into the white tallow. When only the bones appeared, he pretended to discover the deceit only now, and angrily said, "I see well, son of Iapetos, that you have not yet lost the art of trickery." Zeus resolved to take vengeance on Prometheus, and withheld from mortals the final gift they needed to sustain life: fire. Yet even here, the son of Iapetos had a solution. He took the long stalk of giant fennel, approached the passing chariot of the sun, and set the stalk alight. With the glowing ember, he returned to earth. In his innermost soul, Zeus felt pain as he saw the radiance of fire rising among humans. Immediately, he devised a new misfortune for them. The famous god of fire, Hephaestus, had to craft from stone the figure of a beautiful maiden. Athena, envious of Prometheus, draped the figure in a shimmering robe, crowned her head with fresh flowers, and bound her with a golden sash. Hermes, the messenger of the gods, gave speech to the figure, and Aphrodite endowed her with all charms. Thus, in the guise of good, Zeus had created a dazzling evil and named her Pandora, the all-gifted, for each of the immortals had given the girl some misfortune to bring to humans. Then he brought the maiden down to earth. All admired her incomparable form. She, however, went to Prometheus, the unsuspecting brother of Prometheus, to deliver Zeus's gift. Prometheus had warned him not to accept any gift from Zeus. In vain. Prometheus no longer heeded the warning and gladly received the beautiful maiden, experiencing the harm only after taking her. Until then, humans, advised by his brother, had lived free from misfortune, without burdensome labor or afflicting disease. The girl carried in her hands a sealed vessel. Before Prometheus, she lifted the lid, and from the vessel emerged misfortune, spreading swiftly over the earth, air, and sea. Only one good gift remained at the bottom of the vessel: hope. But on Zeus's counsel, Pandora replaced the lid before it could fly out. Meanwhile, misery manifested in every form. Disease raged, and death quickened its step. Then Zeus turned his vengeance on Prometheus himself. He handed the offender to Hephaestus and his attendants, Kratos and Bia. They were to drag him to the Scythian wastelands and fasten him to a cliff of Mount Caucasus with chains that could never be undone. Hephaestus carried out the task reluctantly, for he loved the Titan's son, a descendant of his great-grandfather Uranus, a godling of equal rank. Thus Prometheus was forced to hang upon the cliff, upright, sleepless, never able to bend his weary knees. "Your complaints and sighs will be in vain," Hephaestus said to him, "for Zeus's mind is relentless. All who have recently seized power are hard-hearted." Indeed, the prisoner's torment was to last nearly forever. Though he called upon winds, streams, the waves of the Mother Earth, and the all-seeing sun as witnesses of his pain, he remained unbowed. He would not be swayed by Zeus' threats to reveal the dark prophecy that the ruler of gods would be undone by a future marriage. Zeus sent an eagle to the chained Titan, which daily feasted upon his liver, which regenerated continually. The torment would not end until a man came who would willingly take death in his place. Finally, the day of deliverance arrived. After many years of suffering upon the rock, Heracles came along. Seeing the eagle devouring the wretched man's liver, he drew his bow, shot an arrow, and drove the bird away. He then led the freed one away. To satisfy the god-king's condition, the centaur Chiron was provided as a substitute, willing to die in Prometheus's stead, for Chiron had previously been immortal. Yet for Zeus's will to be fully executed, Prometheus was required to wear an iron ring containing a small stone from that Caucasus cliff. In this way, Zeus could boast that his enemy remained ever bound to the Caucasus.